So it's interesting starting to see a lot of the conversation around Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League change, and I'm here for it because one thing a lot of people have probably, maybe said to me is, why not give your opinions on this game? And maybe they want me to give my honest thoughts and maybe recommend something here or there. But I think the very best way is to just let people come to their conclusions by themselves. In fact, just recently, I started to notice that even on the Video Game Fight School Discord, a lot of people are starting to kind of talk about what they expect, from the game. And it's interesting to read a lot of these conversations. So shout out to all of you that are here in the community. I really do appreciate you guys. And by the way, if you want to join the server, there's a link in the description for you as well. Anyways, looking at some of these reactions so far, I think what's really interesting is even some of them that have landed on the Video Game Fight School channel, and we're going to talk about them because it seems like for the most part, a lot of people are starting to come around. Not necessarily everyone, but it is interesting to see nonetheless. Now, I want to highlight a comment that really does convey this more than anything else that I can say, and that is by one of my, longtime audience members, B-Rice 4390. You said, genuinely, I hate to admit it, I was really bitter about this game's existence, but playing the alpha, I'm genuinely impressed and rooting for it now. Gonna pre-order the deluxe for that early access. That's very interesting. Atlian says, the main thing will always be content in these types of games. And by the way, this is regarding my video where I actually talked about their developer showcase part 3. And it says, and Rocksteady already has a roadmap that looks better than practically every mainstream game of its type in year 1. If they successfully release them on cadence, then Suicide Squad could really be something special. I'm already liking all the content is free and always available. So you start to see this particular, framework with people basically coming around. Lucky says this. They did not surrender the delay time. This will revolutionize looter shooter and comic tie-in games the way Arkham did to action adventure. For the same reason, they're doing it right. Honestly, you can't argue with that because they seem to have their ducks in a row with the roadmap that they actually did reveal. And again, it is very tantamount that they made that decision to delay the game. I think, and there's no certainty to that this was actually the case for them to be able to go back and restructure and probably have everything ready to go with announcements and even some of the content available so that they could jump into it. And when you actually come and look at things from this perspective and see the way people are looking at the game now, and in a sense, getting their minds changed, it's very interesting that if they want to bring this live service proposition, they've got to make sure that they nail it down heavily. So we're going to see how season 1 runs. I don't know if it's going to be something like a 3-month run or 4-month run. Sometimes they're just going to bring out one thing a month. People can be farming, getting their gear ready. And then when it all comes into perspective, then they go ahead and change. The season model is not lost on a lot of people. And hey, here's the thing, guys. For those of you who are playing the game and you pay the base price, you're not going to have to pay anything else unless you want to buy skins. I'm a long-time Division player, the Division 1 and the Division 2. And I can tell you that with the season model, after the Division 2 brought out its seasons, I did not spend a single dime on any of the season reward tracks. They had this little $10 thing in the game that you had to actually, you didn't have to pay for, but you could, and you could get a special cosmetic item at the end of the season. And this was supposedly $10. I didn't pay for a single one. They gave you the first one for free, and that was it for me, because I'm not interested, or I wasn't interested in that time in buying any cosmetics. So for those of you who are looking to buying cosmetics or maybe thinking about cosmetics, I think that's your choice. But, for those of you who probably don't necessarily want to or don't care or don't know if you'll like it, you still have that option to be able to jump in, play the content with whatever, gear you have. You can get your build to be right. And that's the thing. It's going to be this drip fest going on. Everyone's going to be putting on their favorite gear. But for me, I'm going to be looking deeply into, having my content showcase, my builds and showcase the way I enjoy playing. Those things are going to keep me busy, so I'm not necessarily going to be, bothered by FOMO. I saw a video where somebody said, is Suicide Squad, going to make players feel like they're suffering from fear of missing out or whatever it is. That's usually the case in a lot of games like this, so there's no need to mince words, but I'm certain everybody kind of has a direction and has a way that they want to basically go ahead and spend their own funds. So with the reactions that we're seeing so far, I'm very, I don't know, I'm very surprised because at the end of the day, this is something that when the game was first unveiled, it wasn't the easiest pill to swallow for a lot of us who knew exactly what it was. Some people didn't know. In their minds, they were like, it's going to be Rocksteady's game. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. And, for the most part, I kind of thought to myself, well, I don't know, because we just had finished the Avengers, fiasco. And after the Avengers fiasco, we saw Guardians of the Galaxy basically come in and drop through the, crevices of all kinds of, multiverses. That game bombed, and it was a well-produced game, which was the most shocking thing. I think the association with the Avengers kind of also did Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy in, but I don't think that's always necessarily the case, because I remember the marketing for that game didn't seem so strong. It appears the developers or the publisher developed the game and was somehow expecting for that game to go sell itself somehow. But there is another comment here that I saw on Batman Arkham Video's channel, and it says, this is what Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix should have done for Avengers. On that note of, talking about the Marvel side of things, I think this is where a lot of people felt very disenfranchised when it came to the Avengers game. They didn't necessarily see that there was a roadmap to continue, and the way they were heavily pushing the skins, I mean, players are probably wondering, in their minds, so what is the payoff? But here's one thing I want to also make sure that I mention in this video. As much as these things may sound exciting, I remember that there was also excitement before the launch of Marvel's Avengers as well. Let's not be, easily forgetful about the possibility that even though all this stuff may seem really solid on paper, there could be the aspect of it that it may not necessarily, meet these expectations if we go ahead and maybe overhype them. And so that's going to be where caution would need to be taken. But that's pretty much my video. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching the video. Those of you who are starting to hear differently about the game, let me know your thoughts. And those of you who are interested in jumping into the Discord for any conversations, link in the description. Thanks for watching again. Peace out.